So we'll be looking at that in just the league table in a moment as well, because that's always an interesting fact. I've got that just up here on my screen. But yeah, 2025, we are currently 3 games in, well, 5 points. Let's bring up the actual league table so far on screen. So if you are watching over on YouTube, feel free to head over. If you're listening to this after the fact, I'm going to break it down for you in just a moment. So when we look at the table, annoyingly on the stream, I'm having to look over it here. Yeah, that kind of works. It kind of works. But the actual league table is just there to my, if you're looking at me, left. Yeah, so far you've got Philadelphia at the top. They have won all 3 games so far. They've had an absolute storming start to the season compared to how they were in 2024. It's a complete different kettle of fish. They've had a huge turnaround there. Miami in second, joined second along with Columbus. Just Miami ahead due to their goal difference being better. Then you've got Cincinnati sat on 6 points, and then there's us there inside the playoffs. I know, again, it's only 3 games in, but it's a nice feeling. We tend to start off strong, so I'm not going to read too much into it yet. But we are currently on 5 points, 1 win, 2 draws, scored 6, conceded 5. So inside the normal playoff positions, we are the highest goals conceded. No surprise there after what happened last year. With obviously, but this year we've got the massive turnaround, but a lot of new players. Scored 6 though, which is 3rd highest in the standard playoffs, but 4th highest over 5th highest overall. There's a couple of teams down below us there that have scored 7 goals apiece. Orlando down here as well. That's a bit surprising. Then you got this weekend's opponents sat in the Wooden Spoon Arena. No points, 3 games played, 3 defeats, 2 goals scored, 6 conceded. And we will take a look at the West in the opening weeks of the season. And you've got Vancouver at the top there. They've had a great start. They're generally they're not always at the top. They're generally sat kind of this area of the table. Sorry, I thought my cursor was showing up on screen, but I'm pointing over sort of like 7th, 8th, 9th. I don't think they're typically that close to the top. Then you got the new boys, San Diego, currently in second, sat on 7 points from 3 games, 2 wins and 1 draw. So they're doing rather well. They've only conceded 1 in the season so far. Now, you look at in 4th place, you've got Minnesota. 2 wins, 1 defeat, scored 2, conceded 1. So when you look at the form guide for Minnesota, you then see what their results have been, and you just look at that. Each game, 1-0. Doesn't matter whether it was a win or a loss. Each one has been just a single goal in those games. So not the most exciting of matches, to say the least, but, that's where they're at. Elsewhere in the league, let's go back to the West there. You've got... Now, that's the Supporter Shield standings. My bad. Down in the West there. Yeah, LAFC, St. Louis, Colorado, Seattle, where former DC man Paul Arriola has been ruled out for a significant amount of time. He's done his knee in again, which is a shame. He was a great player for us. And it's never nice seeing somebody out injured like that. And down at the bottom there, LAFC, no points at all. Scored 1, conceded 7. So when you look at the actual Supporter Shield, they are right down at the bottom there. So 3 teams on 0 points right now. So yeah, so that's kind of the league at the moment. News around DC United recently. Obviously, it's been a little while since I've done a podcast episode. I've been either busy with work or I've been doing some of the watch along so far this season, which I've managed to get 2 out of 3 games so far. But we are going to be doing another one this weekend as well. So if you managed to catch this before the game, make sure you do subscribe to me on YouTube for that as well. It was great last week. Some real good chat going on. Great the fact that we actually got 3 points and a good couple of goals as well. But yeah, since the last episodes, players like Brandon Savania, Baraja as well, they've come in. So we've had some good additions to the team. It's just been a bit of a whirlwind so far this year. It feels like I'm just don't know what's happening, struggling to keep up. There's so much happening in life right now. Um, so yeah, I'm just going through my notes again, just seeing if there's anything else that I've missed. Obviously, I think we mentioned before about Gavin Turner, the GAM situation. I think we've only got like $150,000 left worth of GAM, but you never know, depending on how we do the player model. We'll see how that pans out, because I think you get, depending on which model you choose. If you choose the U22 model, you get another $1 million in GAM in the summer. So it'll be interesting. I'll be keen to know whether you guys out there, whether you prefer to stick with the U22 model, or do you want to go back to the DP side of things and get an extra DP in. But there will be some extra transfers coming this summer. That's already been promised by the club. Also, the new kit, the new away kit, obviously was announced and was used in the game against Chicago. I'm a little bit of a fan of it. I like it. Certainly a throwback to what feels like the 60s, 70s in terms of its styling. I haven't got it yet. I haven't decided to purchase it yet. Probably will do later on in the season, or maybe it's at the start of next year. But right now, I'm happy with what I've got. As you can see right behind me, just there, is the DC UK one. Here's my, the DC UK. That's the last year, not the current home show, but the one previous. The current home show is it's in my house somewhere, because I tend to wear that one more often. And I play my 7, 8-a-side games with that top on, or my red DC United goalkeeper jersey. Because I tend to play in goal, So yeah, so that is kind of the little bit of news that we've had recently. We're going to move on to kind of the game against Spot Kansas City, where we did have our first, like I said, first win of the season, 2-1 win. All the goals coming in the second half, which I remember watching that, and I was doing the watching, and the first half was a bit drab, shall we say? Not the most exciting of games to have watched in the first half. Not a lot happening. It's one of those games where Spot and Kansas City, they've been on a real bad losing streak as well recently. Before the game, it was 9 games in a row where they've not won at all in any competition. And you could feel it. Obviously, DC 2 draws, end of last season, and the 2024 as a whole wasn't exactly the greatest. So there was a bit of nerves and a bit of apprehension, it felt like. But you know who was shining? And that was our keeper, Kim Joon-hong. And it feels like every game right now, he's getting better and better and more confident. And the fact that he's able to speak English a bit more fluently every week, honestly, it just feels great. And I'm really, really enjoying watching him play. And he had some proper shithousery going on throughout that game, especially in the second half. But he did pick up a knock right at the end. But we'll get to that in a moment. The only good things about that first half really was the fact that Pirani had that effort within the first 5 minutes. That was pretty good. There was a good save by Paul Scamp, the Spot Kent's keeper. There was a couple of bookings, if I remember rightly. I think it was Rosario from Kansas City who picked up their yellow card as well for a foul on Pirani. And yeah, it was just a bit bland. I said it's probably the best word I can think of for that first half was bland. Second half rolls around, and the first goal eventually comes in the 53rd minute, and unfortunately it wasn't to us. Spot in Kansas player Eric Tommy getting the goal. To be fair, the way it was struck in that goal, it was a nice goal. I can't argue with the strike itself, but what I can't complain about is the centre midfield and the lack of it in the build up to that goal. Boris now had a poor game, a real poor game in my books. He was subbed off in that, I think it was the 60th minute or something along those lines. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, he was just not good. And Kojima, who overall had a solid game, centre midfield is not his place. It was also the debut of João Paglau, and that was really good to see him play and actually seeing how he got on. And he was involved in both goals in this game. Now, for the first one, it was a penalty, and he was the guy who made the run into the box. And it was just such a clear foul from Shappy. Nobody argued. He hacked him down. Did feel like Paglau did make a little bit of a meal of it. The fault was, how can I say, exquisite. He put all of his acting skills into it. Again, it was a foul. I'm not saying there wasn't a foul, but he had to add a little extra to it, and that was beautiful. That was beautiful. And up steps Benteke, slots it home incredibly nicely, and there wasn't much time between the SKC goal and then our goal, and that meant Benteke scored three times in a row, carrying on how he left off 2024. This could be another golden boot. Now, I don't know how many players have had consecutive golden boots. Let's see. Let's have a look at the stats on here. Well, my cursor is now showing on on stream. Hey, got to take every win you can. Player stats. So yeah, Baribo is currently leading goal scorer, but Benteke is that. Baribo 6 goals in 3 games. That is crazy. Yeah, Benteke in 2020. I wonder, is there any way I can do it that way? Yeah, I'm not going to wait around. Yeah, Benteke. Then you had Bawanga, followed by Hani Mukhtar. God, what's happened to him? Hani Mukhtar. He's fallen off the edge of a cliff. Ola Kamara should have had it in 2021. Rossi. So no one this decade had back-to-back, but then you start looking like, look at that. Carlos Vela, 34 goals. Wow. Joseph Martinez, who's now at Montreal. Nikolic. I don't think Brodie Wright Phillips. It's been a long time since Giovinco. Wow. Then Brodie Wright Phillips again. When was the last time? Has it ever happened? Back-to-back Golden Boot winners? Wondolowski. Yeah, there you go. 2011, 2012 was the last time there was a back-to-back Golden Boot winner. So we're overdue it. We are overdue that, and hopefully that will be Christian Benteke in 2025, getting that back-to-back Golden Boot. Like I said, if he keeps going the way he is, and he doesn't pick up any silly suspensions or any silly injuries, I think he's absolutely up there and he can do this. So fingers crossed that happens. Anyway, back to the game against Spotting Kansas. I went off on a little tangent. Apologies. Excuse me for the cough as well. I forgot to bring a drink with me. That was a rookie move. You can tell I've not been on the podcast game for a little while. So yeah, we're at 1-1. Then it starts getting a little bit more heated. You can see fouls going in, but then you get set. the most innocuous of ways to score a goal. So it goes out for a throw in. Bit of a just a bit of a soft throw in, really, from what I remember from the game. And the ball comes in. It's played to Peglau on the left hand side, and he's just kind of on the corner of the box, and he just whips this ball in. And you can see Kojima; he's all alone. He's spotted a gap. He's run into it, and he's just flicked it off his head into the bottom corner, and just an absolute beautiful goal. And he said after the game that it's a goal that he I scored before, and he wants to do more like that. And he talks about LinkedIn, and I'm like, what? When has any footballer actually talked about posting something on LinkedIn? And if you tuned in, I think it was the first episode of the season where we were talking about the Kojima signing with Angus and how astute he is and how he's a professor of the game and he loves to get into the nitty gritty of it all. And that just kind of shows in his post match interview that at last weekend it was awesome. Absolutely awesome. But yeah, the fact that Kojima has got his first goal for the Black and Reds, a great start 3 games in. He ends up playing out wide in the end on the left hand side. And I think he was just as good out there as he was whilst he was in the middle. He now comes off, Peltola comes on and gets the ball straight in his face. It looked pretty horrendous. It looked like he was spitting blood. Couldn't actually see that and confirm that on the replays, but whoa, that was pretty brutal. Pretty brutal. Well, yeah, it was a game where the second half was a real step up for us. The ref was appalling. That ref was horrendous. And I really hope we don't have him again for a long old time because I was just like, the amount of yellow cards that were drawn in that second half was insane. If we look at the lineups, and I don't know if I can actually see, the yellow cards. So there were 4 yellow cards in the first half, two for either side. Eno and Peglau picked up the yellow cards in the first half. Peglau's was a definite tactical foul. And FootMob, after the first half, gave him a really poor rating. I thought he played all right. And then you had Miller for SKC in the 52nd. Then Benteke was booked in the 76th. Then Polskan was booked in the 82nd. Then Kim was booked in the 90th. McNaughton was booked in the 98th. And then Herrera was booked in the 99th minute. Just like, it felt like the ref was starting to lose the game in that second half. It's just all over the place. And it's 31 fouls, so a foul every 3 minutes. Shows you the game didn't really get into a flow. Expected goals, 3 from us. Great to see us back at that kind of level. It feels like there was times last year when it just wasn't there. So it was getting to the point where we were high press. We weren't really creating any chances, so we weren't really expecting anything to happen. But yeah, 3 goals to their 0.6. 4 shots on target, 3 off target, 5 blocked. So it was good in the second half. I really enjoyed watching the second 45 or second 55 because 100 minutes on the clock. And I felt really positive after that. I felt really positive, and I'm really looking forward to this weekend's game. But just to touch on, I said at the start of the show, AI, and I ran a match preview analysis for the game against SKC, and I asked it to look through it all and based on it, come up with a prediction. And lo and behold, the prediction was 2-1. And I was like, it's like when I saw that stuff, I was like, yeah, I can roll with that. I can roll with that. And the game happened, and SKC scored. I was like, oh no, but knew that the prediction was still on. And obviously, we scored our first, we scored our second, and I was like, wow, Google Gemini, absolutely spot on. Other noteworthy things from the SKC game, David Schnegg. I can't not mention his performance. He was just absolutely brilliant in that game. For me, he was man of the match. He was brilliant. First half, right position, right time, getting down that wing, working incredibly well with Peglow. Um, yeah, I can't really put much wrong on that. He had a bit of a struggle in the first couple of games, but that game against SKC, he really stood out, and it's great to see him put those first couple of performances behind him and actually shows what he can do and why he's a TAM level player for us. I was really pleased about that. And yes, said really disappointed with Eno. He was just it was one of those games he just wasn't in there at all. He seemed like he was drifting out wide quite a lot as well. I mean, that central midfield was just wide open, and I think SKC saw that and tried to take advantage of it, and they did with their goal. Anyone else? I'm trying to think if there was. Pirani was pretty quiet. Benteke, apart from his goal, was fairly quiet. Kim, like I said, I really enjoyed his performance and the little tricks he was playing. It was just, yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. But we're going to move on to the Montreal match now this weekend. So I did run this again through Google Gemini to see what it could come out with. So I'm just going to read some things out to you from what Google Gemini said. So it says, looking ahead, we face CF Montreal this Saturday at Audi Field, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's another opportunity for us to build on our recent success. Montreal have had a difficult start to the 2025 season. They currently sit bottom of the Eastern, which is correct. 0 points after suffering 3 consecutive losses. Goal difference is also concerning from Montreal, having only scored 2 goals while conceding 6. Their most recent outing resulted in a 2-0 defeat at the hands of Vancouver. Now, I've not validated that part of it yet, but that is correct. So they did lose 2-0 against Vancouver. Poor run of form just suggests that Montreal will be desperate to turn their season around, but it also presents a significant opportunity for a confident DC United side. I like that. Confident DC side. Historically, the head-to-head record between these two teams in the last 5 meetings favours DC United, who secured 3 wins compared to Montreal's 1 victory, with 1 match ending in a draw. Now, I had to do a head-to-head comparison because I believed that the score lines that they was coming out with were incorrect, but it was saying how it's crucial to remember that the most recent encounter between the two sides ended with a commanding 4-2 scoreline victory for Montreal, which is, again, accurate. This result serves as a reminder that despite Montreal's recent struggles, they possess the ability to cause an upset and should not be taken lightly, which is absolutely fair. They've got some good players in their team, but they are just all over the place. Benteke will undoubtedly be the key player for DC United, and the man to watch. His continued goal scoring form makes him the primary attacking threat. And Montreal's defense will need to find a way to contain his aerial prowess and finishing ability, which is hilarious. It's just great. However, the recent contributions of Jose Kojima and the promising debut of João Peglau suggest that DC United's attack might be developing more diverse threats, making them less reliant solely on Benteke, Herrera, in a recent interview, acknowledged that Montreal has talented players throughout their squad, even though they haven't picked up any points yet. This indicates that the DC United team is aware of the potential, despite their current form, and will approach the game with caution. Now, that's based on the pre-match press conference. So it picks that up as well, which is brilliant. So it looks through the YouTube videos of DC United and takes the key quotes out of those as well. Tactically, DC United under Troy Lessens emphasized ball control and quick transitions. Given Montreal's defensive vulnerabilities, highlighted by the concession of 6 goals, DC United will likely aim to control possession and exploit those weaknesses through their dynamic attacking plays. Dynamic attacking players. I love hearing things like that. The consistency in DC United's back four, as noted by Herrera, provides a stable foundation. While the attacking nature of the fullbacks, including Herrera himself and David Schneck, could be a key feature in providing width and delivering crosses into the box. For Montreal, they will need to find a way to solidify their defense and create more meaningful attacking opportunities after a slow start. Their tactical setup has lacked cohesion, leading to defensive lapses. Now, that's something that's quite surprising. Excuse me. The lacking of cohesion. It's a great opportunity for us there. This match represents a significant opportunity for DC United to build a winning streak and gain further momentum in the East. Playing at home against a struggling Montreal side, the expectation will be high for the Black and Red to secure another 3 points. Herrera's comments about the team's frustration with previous draws and the desire to close out games and potentially achieve a clean sheet against Montreal indicate strong determination within the squad. Now, time for the prediction from Google Gemini. We'll be keeping an eye on this one again this weekend and seeing if they are accurate. This is what it says. After analyzing both teams' current form, head-to-head history, and the various insights that has been discussed, the expectation is for a DC United victory. Betting odds also heavily favor a home win. Many prediction models predict and anticipate a 2-1 or a 2-0 win for DC United. Given Montreal's offensive struggles, having only scored twice in 3 games, and Herrera's emphasis on DC United's desire for a clean sheet, Google Gemini is predicting a 2-0 victory for DC United. Benteke is likely to find the back of the net. So it's not only gone and given us a prediction for the scoreline, it's telling us who's going to score. And with the potential for other attacking players to contribute, a comfortable home win seems probable. Consensus among various predictions strongly supports a DC United victory, reflecting the contrasting form of the two teams. Now that is great, and I don't think I could put it better myself. Let's put it that way. It's just, I love what AI is doing. It's for those like myself who are doing podcasts and for one-man band doing this. These types of tools are unbelievable. Using the Google Deep Research on their Gemini to provide this kind of analysis, which means I can use this whilst backing up with what I do myself. It's, to me, things like this is just an absolute game changer, and I absolutely adore it. So I will be continuing to use things like this to bring out some good stuff. Now I'm just going to have a quick look, see if there's been any questions posted across the channels. I'm not seeing anything come through, so no questions for this week, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't get your questions in. Please do. I'm always here to answer anything, but don't forget to come in and tune in to the watch along as well, because that will be rather flipping good, to say the least. It's been awesome so far with the Toronto game and the SKC game. A lot of fun, some regular viewers now, and I love chatting to those in the chat as well. So please do come along. If you've never done it before, YouTube, just make sure you're on the channel, DC United Kingdom, get subscribed. There is like things like notifications and things. So if you want to set that up, go ahead. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. And if you want to support what I do as well, so there is things that you can do. You can get some merch. So there's I've been putting some extra stuff up on the website on the day of this recording actually. So there's some jerseys, which if I remember rightly, let's go to here and let's bring it up on screen. Let's go to the store. So yeah, so you've got the unisex sports jersey, which is in the UK is your 30 of your British sterling pounds. There is an Adidas 3/4 zip, which I've got one of those myself. It is absolutely brilliant. I've got mine in the white, but there's also the grey version there, which my dad has actually got, and that looks absolutely brilliant. I actually prefer that to the white one. You've got a couple of the fleece hoodies. So you've got one with the black logo on in the grey or the white, and then you've got the one with the white logo on, which is in the black. Caps, flags, cups, stickers. And if there's anything that you see there that you think, oh, it'd be good to have one of those, let me know and I will see if I can get it for you. There's things like pint glasses and all that jazz, but if that's not something you want, I won't do it. I'm going to try and design a new proper soccer jersey as well. So keep your eye out for that. That should go up on the website soon. But yeah, if you want to support what I do, this is the best way. It shows that you listen to the podcast. The money that goes into it goes into the production, running the website, the cost of the software that I use as well. Because it's not free. But I do this as a hobby and I do it for the love of the game. But if there's any way that you guys out there want to support me in doing this, I will be forever grateful. But that's it for this week. Short and sweet. And if you want to come onto the podcast and come and join me on an episode, just let me know. Drop me a DM. It'd be great to chat with you guys through the communication through podcasting. By all means, come and let me know. And I would love to have guests on and get you guys chatting away and showing your stories about the black and red. So if you've got an interesting story that you want to share, let me know and I will have you on and we will talk about your love for DC United. So yeah, that's it for this week. Like I said, remember, tune in to the watch alongs this weekend and as many games as I can, I'll be doing them, especially for the early kickoffs as well. It's great this year. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. And if you have the opportunity to leave a review, leave a kind comment, leave a 5-star review, that would be chef's kiss. So yeah, that's it for this week. Thank you for listening. Until next time, Vamos United.